Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I am your host, and I'm here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. It is so great to be with you today. Today's conversation, I just want to share that I've been talking with lots of different hygienists about dental assisting students and dental assistants out in the field obtaining the privilege to scale teeth. And everyone has different takes on that. And I'm not really going to share my particular feelings about that. I do know that it takes a lot of skills and a lot of time to develop the skill to scale teeth. Do I think that an assistant can do it? Well, they've been doing it for years. I guess now we're just making it legit, is what I'll say. But what's happening for some is that it's creating the space of consideration to leave the field, right? Even some of the students that I'm talking to are saying, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? I'm already a dental assistant and now I'm going to hygiene school and I'm working so hard to become a hygienist, and now they're allowing assistants to scale teeth. So this episode is about discovering your true worth and some of your skills that you don't even recognize that you have. I think oftentimes when clinicians want to leave clinical care, they start to have these limiting beliefs about themselves. Some of the mistakes we make are things like, well, I only know how to do clinical dental hygiene. And you associate your skills with your physical skills, your hand skills, your direct patient care skills. And I want to challenge you to think a little bit more in depth about yourself on what your skills are, because we're all guilty of creating limiting beliefs about our skills, about our education. Well, I only have an associate's degree. I honestly can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. And we have a really hard time seeing ourselves in an alternative role. So I want to challenge you, whether you're a student or if you are a clinician that's been out in the field for a long time, or even just a couple of years, think about what your soft skills are. Think about all of the skills that it takes to be a successful dental hygienist. And I got to tell you, I've thought about this. There's a lot of them. We undervalue ourselves far too often. And I honestly think that if you can get through dental hygiene school and then build the skills as a clinical hygienist and really develop all of the skills that it takes to be a quality provider, you can do just about anything that you think you can do. Okay, now that's the truth. Whether you think you can, right? Think about the skills. Okay, you are a health educator. You are able to connect the dots and understand prevention and communicate those needs to every patient that you serve. Communication, that is a skill that you possess as a dental hygienist. And how you communicate really translates to how healthy your patients are, how you build value in what you do, and how you build value in how they change their behaviors. Your listening skills as a provider are essential. Your ability to do motivational interviewing with your patient is a skill. These are skills that translate into other fields quite easily. Oftentimes, hygienists that I speak to that want to get out of clinical practice think I either have to go into sales or education. And that's just simply not true. Although there's a lot of hygienists that are really good at sales and marketing, right? They have great social media presence. They're really good at selling things. They can present things well. And that is a skill not everyone has. But the field of dental hygiene is broad, and all of us are unique in what we're really good at. If you want to go into academics or research, you have to be good at problem solving skills. If you really want to excel as a clinical hygienist, you have to go through the process of understanding what KPIs are, key performance indicators. What does that mean? When you're looking at your KPIs, how does that translate into the day-to-day activities of a clinical hygienist? How does treatment presented to the patient and treatment accepted by the patient translate into your communication skills? What do all those numbers mean? And how does that dictate changes that you need to make as a provider? Those are essential things to think about your key performance indicators and your strengths, how that would translate to another career opportunity. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention organizational skills, time management skills, and customer service skills. Those are gigantic as a dental hygienist. You have to be completely tuned in to your time management, and you have to become an efficiency expert to really manage your schedule and keep your customer service skills at the highest level. It's an extremely high pressure demanding job when you think about all of these broad skills that you have to have if you want to be excellent for career development. The reason why I point these out is because I think we're really guilty of overlooking them all and just thinking about, did we get the calculus off 29 distal? Honest to goodness, guys, this is what we come down to. And I just want to challenge you to think about your teamwork abilities, your level of patience that you have, your attention to detail, your ability to pivot, your adaptability, oh my gosh, there's just so many skills that you have as hygienists. And so I do think that some of the mistakes we make is that we undervalue what we bring to the table. And honestly, I would challenge that if you can become a highly skilled clinician with all of these skills and you develop these skills to the highest level, I could probably see you in any role in a business, whether it's corporate, private, and you would excel if you're given the opportunity and you learn how to focus on highlighting those skills within yourself. We make too many mistakes of thinking that it's about the calculus on 29 distal, and it's really not. It's about how you made that patient feel through the process of care. It's about how you paid attention to the needs of that patient. You made sure you mitigated the risk. You made sure that you created value. You made sure that you were organized and well prepared. You made sure that you communicated the whole process well, and you used your time efficiently and effectively. You made sure that you treated your colleagues with kindness when you were behind, and you created a team environment that is healthy for everyone, that took into consideration everyone else's challenges as well. These are leadership skills. So I want you to focus on your strengths. When you go to work, maybe you're thinking about leaving clinical and you just don't know how to pivot, or you don't know how to take that next step. Maybe you're new in the field and you want to focus on your strengths and focus on developing these skills that I'm talking about, so that at some point, dental hygiene, clinical dental hygiene becomes a springboard into your next adventure. My challenge to you is, as you're going through your workday, to consider what your strengths are. What are those things that you are just naturally good at, that you enjoy doing with each and every patient that you see? What are some of the things that just really light you up inside when you're working with your patient? One of the things that I really loved about clinical hygiene, and still love about clinical hygiene, is when I could develop a new level of understanding with my patient, when my patient would all of a sudden connect the dots between something going on in their life and their oral health. And then when they discovered that they had control over it, that they could make a change, even if it was a small change, and it would set the ball in motion for long-term improvement. Obviously, that led me to the understanding that I was a true educator. I just loved teaching somebody something new and bringing them to a level of awareness and capability and understanding that they could actually do it. I mean, that's what lights me up about a clinical hygienist. That's what lights me up about being a hygienist. But that's why I make a podcast. That's why I create study sheets for students, because I understand how people learn and what the process is. And I enjoy developing things that make that journey easier for others. So what is it that you enjoy doing? What aspects of your profession as a clinical hygienist do you enjoy at a deeper level, that just brings you so much joy inside, that just lights you up, that because it is such a hard daily grind, right? If we want to talk about the pain points of clinical hygiene, my neck hurts just thinking about it. It's high stress, fast paced, very demanding. You're going in 10 directions at a time. You are defined by the hygienist you are when you're 30 minutes behind. There are so many limitations on your schedule, on your day, on your flexibility. You feel obligated to those patients that have scheduled that appointment, so you don't even allow yourself to have a sick day or home time. You can't do this job remotely. Like, there's a boatload of reasons why we feel compelled to look further outside the operatory. But while you're in the operatory, rather than devaluing yourself to just being a person who scales, right, and then putting yourself in the same bucket as an assistant that's on the job trained, becoming capable of scaling, you are not the same. You have all of these skills that you've developed over time, and so have some of the assistants that have done on the job training. There's so much more to you than just scaling teeth. So I want you to look inside of your day. And when you are working with a patient, I want you to focus on what went well. What did I like about that? What skill do I have that I didn't even recognize before, that I can now take that skill and I can harness that skill and develop it a little bit? What parts of the clinical part am I really good at? How do I naturally create value with my patient? Maybe you're a geek and you really like looking at the numbers. The production side of dentistry tells a story. It really tells a story about the communication that went on inside the operatory, and nobody had to even hear what you were saying. They can tell what you were saying based on the numbers. That is like the business side of dentistry. Does that stuff light you up? Are you more of a system process person? Do you enjoy putting systems together in your office and seeing how those systems work to improve the experience of the patient and the outcomes that the patient has? Maybe you are the best communicator. Like, anytime you talk to a patient about their needs and you create value in that appointment, they go out and they schedule their appointment. That lets you know that your communication skills are working at the highest level. Maybe everyone on your team just thoroughly enjoys working with you, and you're really good at bringing people together and creating a team environment. Maybe this is something that just comes natural to you. Maybe you love it when a new person is hired. Like, I always enjoyed it when we got a new assistant who didn't know anything about dentistry, or we had a fresh hygienist out of hygiene school, because I just went right into my mentorship role. I went right into my coaching role, and I would just take that person under my wing and just start showing them all around. And I would get energy from their excitement about the field. So my charge to you is to figure out what your strengths are. Look at your focus points. Look at what you focus on and what you enjoy about your profession outside of the actual physical work of being a hygienist. If that helps you discover what your strengths are outside of that, hopefully, what I then want you to do is peel back a layer. Think about what that looks like in a different role, right? If you look at that and say, okay, I have a high level of attention to detail and I'm really good at team building. I understand systems and key performance indicators, and I'm an amazing communicator. Can I just tell you that if you package that well and you believe in that, you can do just about anything. I think far too often we think that we have this really niche clinical skill understanding. We are so broad in our abilities. The problem is that we create these limits on our own thoughts. So what I want you to do is over the next couple of weeks, I want you to really take all of the strengths that you are just naturally good at. So maybe this is a discovery week. Maybe this week is, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to say, gee, what part of the day today did I thoroughly enjoy? And then take that information and say, I'm going to go on Indeed and I'm going to type in those characteristics and see what pops up. You would be so surprised. There are so many skills that you have as a clinical hygienist. And when you're looking at your career development process, I think you just put way too many limits on yourself. You really do. And if you can just broaden your understanding of what you're truly capable of, it will just open up so many doors. And I have recorded a couple of podcasts that talks about alternative careers for the dental hygienist. I actually think even that episode, if you were to go listen to it, has some limiting beliefs within it. I actually would rather see you expand on your strengths, and then you can fill in the blanks as to what that does as far as leading you down the path to an alternative career, if that's what you're looking to do. There's not a lot of hygienists that have a 40-year career. What my hope is that I can help you discover your strengths. And honestly, discovering your strengths and then focusing on what you naturally enjoy ultimately will make you a better clinical dental hygienist. Because when you focus on what you're really good at and then you help discover the different strengths in others, that's all part of team building. We are not all good at all things. You know, I have a weakness of thinking that everyone is like me. That's my biggest weakness. And so when somebody doesn't act or react or respond, or I find out that they're nothing like me, I'm just like, how do I develop an understanding and compassion for that person? And it's really through active listening and asking lots of questions. So I always go, so there's my weakness. I hope all of you can learn what your weakness is, because if you can understand your weakness, I always say you should focus on your strengths because those are way easier to develop. But it's also important for you to know what your weakness is, because it helps you understand how to grow. Definitely know and follow your strengths, but also be able to articulate and point out your weakness. I think that's really important. If you focus on your strengths and focus on what you're really good at, it is going to expand your understanding of what you're truly capable of and all of the opportunities that are available to you out in the world. You could almost apply for any job if you were to focus on those strengths and those skills, harness those skills and develop those skills, and then step out of the opportunity into that new role. I hope this was a great opportunity for you to consider what is possible for yourself. You could always reach out if you need help with that. I'd be happy to support you on your journey of discovering what your strengths are. I'm always available. You could always connect in the show notes if that's something that you're interested in. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.